Welcome back to DataShark Academy. In previous sections of this course, you learned Sqoop import and Sqoop export processes. Now we need to look into another very important feature of Sqoop, which is Sqoop jobs. What are Sqoop jobs? Well, it's the same import or export process that you ran before, but instead of running it as one-time command, you can create a job in Sqoop for your process and rerun it as many times as you want without retyping entire command again. This makes it very easy to schedule recurring processes. For instance, incremental loads, where although Sqoop provides specific directives like check column, incremental, and last value, but you had to keep track of the last value that was imported in previous executions. This was a manual process, and it's tedious and prone to human mistakes. With Sqoop jobs, you don't need to keep track of last value. Sqoop will track it for you. In one of the production applications that I was handling, we had to import 2 terabytes of relational data every day and append it to Hadoop. And there we were using Sqoop jobs similar to one that I'm going to show you next. So let's get started. So let me bring the terminal up. So let's create Sqoop job first. Create, and I'll call my job as getCTC job import. Make sure there is a space between these two hyphens and import. Okay. Then your connect string, sandbox, hotandbox, Sqoop. Use the name root. Source table is employees. CTC nodes. This is the table we created in our last lesson. So make sure that you run that exercise in order to have this table created in your environment. Target directory will be Sqoop and employees CTC final. Okay. And since this is an incremental load, so I'll need to use check column and I'll put it on the employee ID. There is no date column in this table. Incremental, this will be append. Okay, and in the end I'll put the driver and run this. Okay, so it's executed. Now let's see if the job is created in the memory. We can see that by Sqoop job hyphen list. So as you can see, now Sqoop has this job added in its system, and the job name is get CTC job, which is same as the one we created. Now let's run this. Running is very easy. I just need to say Sqoop job hyphen exec and the job name. Enter. So it will ask you password. This is your MySQL password, by the way. So now the import process has started, and you can see that 4 mappers are allocated, and now the MapReduce job is running. So let's give it a minute. More or less it's the same process that we learned in previous lessons. It's importing the data from MySQL into Hadoop, but now it is doing using a Sqoop job, which is a standalone process, and it can be executed as many times as you want. In productions, what we do is we create Sqoop jobs like this, and then we use a scheduler. We have Uzi installed, and what we do with Uzi is that we schedule a job. For example, say I want to load some data every day. in the night. Okay, so I can define that this is the job name, this is a Sqoop job, and I want it to run at 10 p.m. every night. Okay, so this kind of setting I can do in Oozie, and Oozie will automatically trigger this Sqoop job. You cannot do the same using Sqoop commands like that we learned before. Maybe you can do it by using some kind of wrapper in Linux, but since Sqoop already provides Sqoop jobs, that should be used because it comes with a lot of functionality, especially for the incremental loads. It will keep track of all the checkpoints of the data being loaded. As you can see here, our job has finished, and here you can see that the incremental import state has been updated to metastore. Okay, if you remember in our previous lessons that when we ran the incremental load, usually in the end it used to give us the last value, and it was asking us to keep track of it for the next execution, right? But with job we don't need to do it because job is updating it into a meta store, and that's kind of a storage that comes with the Sqoop. And if I run the job again and there is new data in the MySQL side, then it will automatically copy new records and load them into Hadoop. So this is a very handy feature, and that's the main reason to use Sqoop jobs. Alright, so let's see what is there in the meta store, but before that we can go ahead and see the data on the HDFS side. As you see that we have 4 new files added, and these are added by the Sqoop job. Now if you want to see the last value that is being saved by Sqoop after this execution, what you can do is just type Sqoop job hyphen show and your job name. Okay, password is your MySQL password, and as you can see here it has a lot of information stored for your job. And here let me find out the last value. You can see the job name is get CTC job, and it's an import process. And here you can see that incremental last value that is preserved is 11,000 because this is the maximum value of the employee ID in our MySQL table. So if new records are added and we run this job again, it will load those new records only. So let's try that now. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new record in my source MySQL table and then run the Sqoop job again. So it will only load that new record. So let me run this in MySQL. So I'm going to insert into this table, which has columns employee ID, CTC, first name, last name, and notes, values. So I'm gonna give a value of 11,001. CTC will be 99999, and first name will be say John, last name Smith, and notes will say testing only. Alright, so let's insert this record and let's verify if this record is added, where employee ID is equal to 11001. Alright, so this record is added. Okay, it's a new record, and now the checkpoint in our Sqoop job is up to 11,000 employee ID. So this is a new record. If I run this Sqoop job now, it will identify that a new record is added and it will load that record into Hadoop. So let's try that now. So let's go back and we'll run our Sqoop job again. So Sqoop job --execute get ctc job and run. Password is your MySQL password, which is Hadoop. Alright, so you see that it already identified that this was the last value and this is the maximum value in the source table now. So there's only one record and it has put one mapper to the task. Alright, so it loaded the last record and also updated the meta store. So let's go to Hadoop. Let's check the file. So it's called employees ctc final. We should have 5 files now. Yes, we have 5 files, and this one should have only one record, which we just loaded. You see, so only one record is loaded. Okay, now let's also see the meta store. Okay, so we can see that by sqoop job show get ctc jobs job. Okay, now let's see the last value. Alright, so go up. So now you see the last value is 11,001, which is the last record in our source table. Okay, so you can run this job as many times as you want. Whenever there's new data, you can trigger it. So this is it for sqoop jobs. And the last thing I want to show is how to delete this job, right? So if you have made some mistake or you want to get rid of the job or you don't need it, then you can just simply do sqoop job delete and the job name. So this job is deleted. Let's verify this. Sqoop job list. Yeah. Alright, so there are no jobs now. It's already being deleted. Okay, so this is it for sqoop jobs. Try it on your end and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next class.